Thank you very much. Yeah, it was something different that happened here, and then these professors decided to like indicate me to participate on this voices meeting, and it's an honor to present to you guys. I hope you enjoy it, and if you have questions or if you want to me to send more documents or something, please send me an email, and I will be happy to answer you.
Cristiano, I wrote in the comment box that I just watched an episode of a show this past weekend called Explained, and it was about the world's water crisis and exactly what you were talking about with basically the idea of capitalism and democracy, and it's a real global issue. And interestingly, the episode that came right after that was about music. So you should check it out. Yeah.
I will, for sure, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, I could go more in maybe examples, of course, would be easier, but I think we it's we are late of time, so I will be glad to continue this conversation in particular if you guys want. But I think that's it. Thanks for sharing. I watched this documentary. I didn't see.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming to Voices and sharing your knowledge with us and your song.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So now we have 15 or 14 minutes left for general Q&A on this interdisciplinarity. So Larry's video poster on the history, math history, Ashley's presentation. Ashley had to leave, but we can discuss her presentation in her absence, and of course questions for Cristiano, who is still here. So all of that is fair game for the next 14 minutes. Please type your questions in the chat window. Cristiano, you can see the chat window, right?
Yeah.
So if questions come in through there,
Okay.
You can. But maybe I'll kick us off with one. So I'm wondering, Chris, if I understood the song correctly, it sounded like you were offering it in sort of an ironic way, right? You were seeing it as an engineer who maybe has a narrow-minded view that you don't agree with. So my question for you is, who has heard this song, and did they understand the irony of it?
In the class, you mean, when I play it?
Yeah, like who have you shared this song with?
Okay. No, it was a particular module, as we call, is a 3-week session of classes, and then I was in charge of presenting this article there with this song. So the people who were there, they were listening. That was the people who were listening. And I didn't play for a large group of people. So I didn't have the feedback to see if people really understand the message of the song. Of course, the people in the class, they understood because they were taking the course. But I don't know how much the song is. I think this is your question. I don't know how much the song is clear in transmitting this maybe irony to the general public and engineers, of course. I myself an engineer, so I understand this set of beliefs or this mainstream discourse in engineering.
Okay, so it's fair to say maybe that you don't think this song would necessarily be effective without the context of having read that paper or having a broader discussion about this, that as a standalone song, it might be confusing to people.
Yeah, I think so. The song, including the last part where I speaks more than sing, it's very directed to the paper itself. So it's people that are studying this issue is the public of the song.
Right.
I,
Right.
if I would make a song for a wider public, um, like I don't know, the university or here, I mean, or publish in YouTube, I would change it to be a more less academic on the political ecology sense. Yeah, but for this article, I think it's even could be more detailed, could be more um, how to say could have more elements of content.
Right. And so we have a question from Walter in the chat window, kind of speaking of possibly sharing the song with a wider audience or not. He asks, is your song about this complex issue available online?
Um, Complex issue available online. Uh,
Is your song about this complex issue available online?
no, it's not available online. Sorry, sorry.
Okay.
But I can share it. I have recordings. I can share it. Please send me an email. I will share it for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to send us an MP3 or something, our IT guy Bob could put a link to it in so that people can hear the quote unquote studio recording, or whatever form it is. If you have a version that
Yeah.
you prefer people to hear.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. No, I can share the song as it is. I just I mean that if I would make a song decided for the wider public, I would change the lyrics to be more digestive. I mean, to be more understood without so many terms like political ecology, etc. But I'm glad to share the song as it is, of course.
Sure. Question from Tiffany. How did you hear about the Voices conference? It sounded like maybe your professor told you about it.
Yeah. So my professor, he one of my professors from the water governance, he has this line of visual methods to explain water issues, and he's very tuned with um, different kinds of communication approaches, like making an artistic, um, for instance, poem or music or any kind of different things in academia. And I don't know how he accessed the voices, but he was the one who told me, and I inscribed it right away.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you did. Other
Yeah.
questions? Sorry, go ahead.
No. Just replying.
Okay. Other questions for either Cristiano or Larry, if you didn't quite get a chance to grill Larry yet on his math history, or we can talk about Ashley's presentation, even though she is not here herself. Let's see. Just to reiterate, Ashley is happy to talk to us later via email, abear@nas.edu. So I certainly have some questions for her. I think, one of the interesting things about Ashley's presentation was, and I think Lou Gross was getting into this a bit in his chat room comment, the strength of the evidence underlying the report is not maybe as strong as pure scientists would normally like. There aren't a lot of kind of randomized control trials sort of things. So it doesn't invalidate the conclusions, but means that we need to look at them a little differently than if we were studying the efficacy of a certain drug or something like that. So for those really interested in this, it's worth looking into the report itself for the details. The other thing I want to mention about Ashley's presentation is this panel defined integration of arts and STEM in a fairly specific way. And if I understand this correctly, simply writing a song about biology to teach biology would not necessarily count as integration. I think the way they defined it, integration was teaching about, say, music and biology, or about art and geology. So you had to sort of have pedagogical goals in both disciplines for it to count as integration. So if you read the report, you may think, oh man, my things are not in here. How come they don't know about me? And it may just be a case of definitions. So with that little note, I'll stop talking and let others chime in here. And Gary's commenting here, and Larry. And I don't think this is in any way a value judgment. I don't think they're dismissing what we do if we just write a song to teach biology. They're not saying that isn't valuable. It's just not what they happened to be studying in their specific report.